to other people who keep going forward. So what's the difference and what's the reason? So I started noticing that I figured, let me kind of create a story out of this. Let me tell the story. And it came about from reading a book back in the 80s, 1980s. I read a book called Rhinoceros Success. And it was a book by a guy named Scott Alexander, who's since become a friend and so forth. And Scott Alexander wrote this book about cows and rhinos, and I thought, man, this is pretty interesting. And then speaking of Les Brown, back in the late 80s or so, I came across a tape of Les Brown, and in that tape he was talking about how the messengers of misery will come and pay you a visit every now and then. And I said, wait a minute. I said, this is interesting. So I started kind of coming up with these ideas about, okay, this cows, rhino stuff, the messengers of misery, and all this stuff, and I started shaping up my own little philosophy based on those concepts, started sharing a little bit with my team every now and then I started kind of coming up with a little something. It wasn't always all the way there, but I remember one morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up in the middle of the night with this whole concept of Murphy's Committee in my mind. The whole thing was in my mind, and I went and wrote it. I wrote the whole thing out right there without stop. It just came from me. It was coming from my mind. I wrote the whole script, and then I went in and recorded that script. And that audio has gone on to sell over 1 million copies, and legally. There's some people who probably do. There's some people who illegally has company too. But it's gone on, and lots of people say, Jerry, if I didn't have that information, I would have quit. If I didn't have the information, I wouldn't have made it. If I didn't have, I get that so many times. And what the concept is, in short, for everyone to kind of understand, is I believe that we're all born in the cow pastures. 98+% of us are born in the cow pastures. What that means, we're born in the land of average and ordinary. We're born in the land of just doing what everyone else is doing, and we know what that's getting us. But there are some of us who say, you know what, I want more than average and ordinary. I want more than the humdrum normality that most people get. I want more. And they want to live their life in the land of paradise where they can, experience what they want to experience. They really can live into whatever they want to live into. And the only way you're going to get to the land of paradise from the cow pastures, because remember the cow pastures, there's some deep drain programming in there. You got to go through what I call the jungle. So you got to go through the jungle, the entrepreneurial jungle. And in this entrepreneurial jungle, it's not just going to be a cakewalk. You're not just going to walk in the entrepreneurial jungle and just all of a sudden just walk right into the land of paradise. What's going to happen is we've all heard of Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law basically says whatever could go wrong probably will. And what I noticed when looking at all these people that were going, getting in, quitting and things like that, I noticed that they were all going through the same things. And so I figured out that they're all going through the same things. They're all going through them pretty quickly, and multiple people are going through them at the same time. So I figured there got to be more than one Murphy. I think Murphy has a whole group. And so I figured that Murphy has some helpers, and I'll call them Murphy's Committee. And basically what it is that as you go through the jungle, you're going to be visited by these various members of Murphy. And Murphy number one is going to send your friends and family members after you to tell you to kind of go back to the cow pastures, go back to being average and ordinary. You got a real good job. You better stay focused with this company. And, what are you talking about, all these big dreams you're talking about having? You're not going to get that. People like us don't get stuff like that and all those type of conversations. And that's Murphy number one. A lot of people go back to the cow pastures and live their whole lives in the cow pastures because they can't deal with Murphy number one. But the people that deal with Murphy number one, Murphy number two is going to inject them with a dose of poverty consciousness, and that's going to get them not to invest in themselves, not to make the proper moves to move forward and to develop their skills. That's Murphy number two. Murphy number three deals with sending you a dose of emotional heartache. So they really create an environment or a situation where maybe your spouse or significant other is not supporting you in your venture and really creates serious challenges there from an emotional standpoint. And then Murphy number 4 and 5, so there's 5 members, they're Siamese twins, and what they do is they do all kinds of things, a last-minute effort if you've made it that far in the jungle to get you to stop. And so I share this whole story about going through the jungle and the challenges you're going to go through, and eventually you make it to the land of paradise and what that's like and so forth. And I do it in a story format in order to arrest a person's conscious guard and deliver information directly to their subconscious. It's a very psychological structure in the way I put this program together based on psychological concepts that I learned from one of the world's most renowned psychologists. I paid him $20,000 to learn it, but he taught it to me. And I use those concepts, those psychological concepts on how the mind works in order to be able to impact people in a more empowering way. And there you go, came up with the program Murphy's Committee. And I know it's a really short, little situation, but maybe we'll find a way to get that to the people who's listening right now, for people who want to really listen to it. It's a really great program. People love it all over the world.
All right, well, we're going to hold you to that. I know you just said you'll put something together for us.
Yeah, we'll put something together. As a matter of fact, Murphy's Committee, I'm going to Russia tomorrow. So I'm flying out to Russia, or actually to the Ukraine tomorrow. And one of the requests that the people asked me, they're going to have about 7,000 or 8,000 people there. Last year they had about 10,000 for me. And this is a different group, so they're going to have about 7,000 or 8,000 people. And one of the main requests that they asked is that I share the Murphy's Committee. So, that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about when I fly out to the Ukraine tomorrow.
Wow. And I know we just had 2 more questions that we really want to get to. And Jerry is traveling around the world all day, every day. But he always makes time, for his family and for his children, which I think is absolutely amazing. He's also taught his son, in regards to investing and the importance of finance. But what I wanted to really touch on, Jerry, and that a lot of people, because with where society is right now, yeah, we're optimistic. Yeah, we continuously think big. Yeah, we're continuously reading. But you've had another interesting part of your story that I've heard on, some of your CDs, mainly Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, where you do all the interviews. But you tell that there's a part in your life where you did create tons and tons of money. In fact, you had so much money that you used to keep wads of money in your glove compartment in your car. Now, you had all this money, and then one day you started getting that ego thing, started getting that more than confidence, started getting cocky, and to hear you tell it, you said you lost it all. But the great thing that this industry did for you, and this is what I've learned from you through constantly listening to these Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, that's the best series that I constantly listen to when I'm feeling low in regards to business. But you lost it all, but because you lost it all, you didn't lose your mindset. You said that only this industry could give someone that opportunity. So if you can share, because there's some people on this call right now, maybe they lost their house, they lost their car, they lost their, spouse or whatever. But the power of keeping your mindset in this industry. Can you just share that a little bit?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Very good. Every question you're asking, I could do like several hours or a day or something training on it. But here's the main thing. That was I remember that time you were talking about specifically. I talked about that also in the Creating Magic program, and I talked about a little bit about how I was doing well. I had all this money, and I was young. I was really young at that time too. So it was before I made the tens of millions of dollars that I've earned. It was before all that. This was way back when I was 19. I was making $8,000 or $10,000 a month by that time. By the time I was 20, I was earning a 6-figure income and so forth. So this is way back during those days. And so the main thing is I had this Mercedes. I bought the Mercedes-Benz back when I was 19 years old, right before I turned 20. And, I've got wads of money, because I got all this money, don't know what to do with it, so I just had all kinds of money around and so forth. And I was doing pretty well for a young kid making 6-figure income and so forth. But I was telling myself every time someone say, hey, you're doing pretty well, I would say, I'm the brokest guy in Pittsburgh. I lived in Pittsburgh, California at the time. And I would keep saying that affirmation was an affirmation. I didn't realize it was an affirmation. I was actually communicating with my subconscious. I didn't realize that. And I said it over and over and over again to the point to where I end up losing everything. And because what happens, whatever you repeat over and over and over again, eventually the subconscious will pick up on it, and eventually it will take over, and eventually it will assist you in getting what that is once it clicks in. And so you want to be very careful about the words that you speak. That's why I think it's interesting. You guys are called the Billionaire Mastermind Forum, and you guys call yourself Billionaire, Billionaire. Everyone is called Billionaire this and Billionaire that, and that's a really cool affirmation, because really what it is just an affirmation. You're giving your subconscious that affirmation, and eventually your subconscious will say, oh, wait a minute. You look at your bank account and you say, well, I don't got the billions in a bank account at this point. Wait a minute, though. You're Billionaire Brown. I better go ahead and take care of you real quickly.
There we go.
So it will find a way to start assisting you in moving towards that reality and so forth. So it's pretty powerful.
Stopped.
So anyway, I know that, the conference recording is getting low here and so forth, I just heard. But here's the thing that I want everyone to understand. If you want to get more information on this, and I know you have one more question, but let me just make sure everyone understands this because this falls right into that. For those of you who really want to know how to have this mind work for you in a way to where it can really be your ally instead of your enemy, one of the programs that I came up with, I did a training in Australia. As a matter of fact, I'm going back to Australia next month as well. But I did a training there. They wanted me to do a full-day training on the concept about, you guys have all heard of The Secret, and that was very popular. But they wanted to know, how can I use The Secret from a practical application? How can I really use this concept of the law of attraction? How can I really use this concept of using your imagination in an empowering way to create abundance? How can I really use that? So I did a one-day seminar sharing with people how to really set that up. And it's kind of based around this question that you asked and some of the other questions. And it's called Activating the Secret. And here's where people can go to get that, because I'm going to throw in some bonuses. Let me just share that real quickly. You go to Club Rhino, and I'm going to give you a referral code that you guys are going to have to put in so we'll know that it came from Billionaire Mastermind Forum here. You go to clubrhino.com, www.clubrhino, C-L-U-B, rhino like the animal, R-H-I-N-O.com, /down under, because I was in Australia, downunder.html. It's important to do all that because you're not going to find this program on my website. It's just a private program that I offer every now and then to some of the people. I've discounted it heavily for you already. clubrhino.com /downunder.html. When you get there, you're going to see this program, Activating the Secret. It's going to tell you a little bit about it. You're going to notice we discounted it from $300 down to $97. It's going to be an MP3 download. You can download it immediately. But here's the thing. I'm going to throw in a couple of extra bonuses for those of you who are on the call here. Number one, I'm going to give you the Creating Magic audio series for free. Now, don't add that to your shopping cart or else it's going to charge you for it. And that is, you'll see it on my website. It's $60 or something like that discounted. But we're going to give that to you for free. It's going to be an MP3 download. We're going to also give you the link. We're going to send you that link separately. And also, I'm going to also give you, and this is just from listening to the questions that came up. I'm just making these bonuses up right now. I'm also going to go ahead and give you another bonus of a program called the Magic of Influence. And the Magic of Influence, you know what? I'm not going to give you the Magic of Influence. I think the more appropriate bonus is going to be one of my Standing on Shoulder of Giants. Yeah. I'm going to give you probably Volume 10, which is the one that has Les Brown in there answering that question. So me interviewing Les Brown. He's answering that question about why people don't win, and he's talking about a lot of other stuff. And I think George Fraser's in that one too, in Volume 10. So that's an awesome one. I definitely was not planning on giving that to you guys as a free bonus. That's like $100 or something on my website. I'm gonna give it to you for free. Do not add it to your shopping cart, or else it will charge you. Now, if you're charitable and just want to go ahead and give me some money or something, I'm open and receptive to receiving that. But all you have to do is go to that Down Under, clubrhino.com, /downunder.html, add that to your shopping cart. When you're filling out the information, at the bottom it's going to ask you for a referrer code. And that referrer code, just type in BMS. Type in BMS, and or BMF, either, it doesn't really matter. We'll know that it's you guys were here. And that's how we'll automatically include a separate email to you that's going to give you the Creating Magic series, the 4-CD series. That's the one that also has Murphy's Committee in it. Murphy's Committee is CD number 3 in that program. You're going to be able to download that, and you're also going to get a link to download Standing on Shoulder Giants Volume 10 that has Les Brown in there as well, and George Fraser and a bunch of other people. Really cool. So I just want to make sure people understand that. You got 24 hours to take advantage of that for those who want to take advantage of that offer, because I'm not going to be able to give those free things away forever. Other than that,
you said that's only 90. You did that all for us for only what? Yep. $97?
Yep.
Under $100?
Yeah, it's going to be under $100, and that's, since it's a digital download, there won't be any shipping or anything, so it's going to be just $97 even. I'm doing that for you guys. These products sell all day long on my website for the prices that you see there. We sell a bunch of them. And so it's just one way to support you guys and to give you guys a great incentive to get plugged into my material. For some of you who may not have heard of some of my training material and so forth, it's a way to get you plugged in, but it's a way to contribute to the Billionaire Mastermind Forum as well.
That is extremely, extremely awesome that you set that package up for us. And also,